This is about a major segment of American business, the automobile industry. It is, of course, about cars, but even more, it brings into sharp focus the dramatic and unalterable changes resulting from the social, ecological, environmental, and energy concerns of the 70s. The American automobile industry, including the four major manufacturers, American Motors, Chrysler, Ford, and General Motors, comprises one of the world's largest industrial complexes. As such, it is a vital part of our nation's total economic structure, and its relative importance is not easily overstated. The decade of the 70s was by far the most challenging 10-year period in the industry's history, and this is, in part, the story of how one manufacturer and one of its companies have responded to the demands of regulation, consumer preference, and competition. Our chronicle begins in 1970, when over 1 million Americans were directly employed by the four domestic automobile manufacturers. Another 750,000 people worked the 17,000 dealerships which sold and serviced these domestically built products. An additional 13 million were involved in the many automotive-related industries and businesses, companies which provide materials, products, and services necessary for the manufacturing or after-sale maintenance and support of both new and used vehicles. In total, well over 15 million people, or about 1 of every 6 productively employed Americans, were working in some automotive-related occupation in 1970. That's more than the population of Georgia, Florida, and Alabama combined, and a sizable portion of America's total workforce as well. But the events of the 70s were to have a significant effect on both the size of the industry and on the vehicles it produced. Since 1970, General Motors, including Pontiac Motor Division, has spent billions of dollars on research, development, engineering, reliability, testing facilities, and tools solely toward designing and producing automobiles which meet safety regulations and standards. Many of the features are designed for the protection of the driver and passengers. Others are designed for accident avoidance. And still others for the prevention of theft. In fact, depending on the specific model, most GM and Pontiac cars have from 34 to 38 features or items of equipment to help provide protection for the occupants and/or the vehicle. Although we made great progress in the 70s, the commitment to produce safer products will continue as a top priority. When it became evident that cleaner automobile exhaust emissions would contribute to the reduction of air pollution, the industry accepted this responsibility even before state and federal standards were enacted. Between 1960 and 1970, GM and Pontiac reduced the level of hydrocarbon emissions by 61% and the carbon monoxide level by 60%. Additional improvements have been extremely costly, but compared with a 1960 baseline, by 1982, hydrocarbons and carbon monoxide emissions had been reduced by 96% and oxides of nitrogen by 76%. The cost to General Motors exceeds $3.7 billion, and 1981 vehicles had an estimated $725 of emission control equipment included in the cost of the unit. It is also important to recognize that as of 1980, over 25,000 General Motors employees were directly involved in complying with these regulations. And even today, the work goes on. The mid-1970s focused everyone's attention on what may be the most serious concern of the century, the finite supply of fossil fuel energy. The cost of gasoline in the United States has always been far below the whole world market, as this comparison shows. Obviously, the high cost of fuel is one reason that most foreign-made automobiles were smaller and more energy efficient years ahead of our domestic cars. They were concerned with the cost of fuel as well as the cost of the products, so they designed and built small And as it turned out, they were in an extremely advantageous position when in 1975, the whole world became acutely aware of the limited supply of this irreplaceable resource. It should also be pointed out that European countries are smaller and population densities much greater than the United States. It is possible to drive across several different countries on one tank of fuel, even in a relatively inefficient vehicle. Contrast this with the sprawling countryside of the United States and a society which has traditionally enjoyed much greater freedom of movement. It should be noted that GM became concerned about more efficient gasoline engines long before the first oil embargo. It had become evident during the late 1960s that impaired fuel efficiency was one of the major side effects of emission control devices. By 1973, GM engineers were well along in designing more efficient engines and smaller, lighter vehicles. As a matter of fact, the Ventura II, Pontiac's version of the General Motors X-body, was introduced in April of 1971, and the Pontiac Astra, an even smaller, more efficient H-body vehicle, became available in 1975. By 1976, there was plant capacity to manufacture 80,000 Venturas and 90,000 Astras. These were less expensive and more fuel efficient than the larger cars, but with gasoline still far below the world market price and apparently available again in unrestricted quantities, the lessons of 1973-74 were temporarily forgotten, and the demand for these smaller Pontiacs, only 101,000 in 1976, lagged behind production capacity by about 40%, while consumer preference once more centered on the larger products. Even so, General Motors accelerated its new product design and development programs, and by 1977, the so-called standard or family car had a trim new size. Pontiac's popular Bonneville gained a significant improvement in fuel efficiency as a result of a better aerodynamic shape and a weight reduction of 836 pounds. In 1978, intermediate-sized cars, such as Pontiac's flagship, the Grand Prix, also had an all-new design. Weight was reduced by 755 pounds, and the cleaner lines helped reduce air drag. New, smaller, more efficient standard engines also helped improve the fuel efficiency of these new Pontiacs. During the period 1974 to 1978, the design, development, and testing of a totally new X-body vehicle was in full swing. This new vehicle was to be the first of a new generation of more efficiently powered and distinctively styled automobiles. In April 1979, Pontiac introduced the front-wheel drive 1980 model Phoenix, a 5-passenger X-body with more interior space than its predecessor and 26% better fuel economy. In March 1981, Pontiac introduced its version of the very successful GM T-car, the Pontiac T1000. This small car became Pontiac's mileage leader with an EPA estimated miles per gallon of 30 and highway estimate of 44 mpg. The T1000 was followed in May with the introduction of the 1982 J2000, a new family of front-wheel drive wagons, sedans, coupes, and hatchbacks, which offer impressive fuel economy with an EPA estimated miles per gallon of 30 and a highway estimate of 47 mpg on a specially equipped coupe. Then, in January 1982, more innovative, highly styled, and finely engineered new cars joined the Pontiac fleet. The Pontiac 6000 Coupe and Sedan, with a standard 2.5-liter 4-cylinder electronic fuel-injected engine, which offers impressive fuel efficiency in a mid-size car, an EPA estimated 26 miles per gallon and 42 estimated highway. At the same time, along came an exciting new Firebird, a Pontiac well known for its performance and roadability. Although the Firebird's new styling is definitely on the sporty side, these new Pontiacs equipped with a standard 2.5-liter 4-cylinder electronic fuel-injected engine and 4-speed manual transmission have an EPA estimated mpg of 24 and a highway estimate of 35. Innovative new cars such as these make it possible to have both efficiency and performance in a sporty car, that were unheard of just 10 years ago. Of course, the quest for better fuel economy has been an unqualified success. For example, in 1975, the miles per gallon average for all Pontiacs sold was 15 mpg. This was slightly below the GM average of 15.4 and the domestic industry average of 15.8. Today, because of the high priority given fuel economy improvements, Pontiac's 1982 sales-weighted divisional average fuel economy is estimated at 27.4 miles per gallon, based on the EPA combined estimate. That's well above the GM corporate average fuel economy of 25.8 and very close to the 1985 regulatory standard of 27.5. Obviously, this could not have been achieved without a tremendous commitment by General Motors of manpower and financial resources, as well as the development and application of new technology. For example, a new General Motors Aerodynamics Research Laboratory is providing designers with invaluable information during the design process. From clay to wood to fiberglass to finished product, every new design can be tested and evaluated. A clean, aerodynamically efficient exterior design helps improve fuel efficiency measurably. And although not all future cars will look like this new Pontiac Firebird, the 82 Trans Am does happen to have one of the best aerodynamic drag coefficients of any car tested in the GM wind tunnel. All one has to do is to look at the products of the 70s to realize the striking changes that evolved as a result of the industry's response to the demands it faced. But that's not all that happened. The composition of the population changed. The babies of the late 40s and 50s grew up, and the effects of the so-called post-war baby boom were felt in every facet of American life. In total, these young men and women represent one of the largest groups ever to enter the adult segment of the population. They are seen and heard on campuses, in the streets, and in every segment of the marketplace. And they have a tremendous impact socially, politically, and economically. The effects of this change are many, but probably none more so than in the automobile business. Their preferences in cars are different. These are expressive buyers, and they want cars that reflect their self-image, and they really don't care who builds them. Foreign cars have become more appealing. Many were low-priced. They were smaller, looked different, and were perceived to be more fuel efficient. As more and more of these new values buyers came into the marketplace, the manufacturers of all goods and services, including automobiles, rushed to attract their business and to hold it as well. Where performance had once meant 0 to 60 in 7 seconds, performance now also means impressive fuel economy, reliability, and dependability. Where economy once meant only miles per gallon, it now includes the overall cost of operation, maintenance, and repair. Concern about product quality is something else that came into focus during the 70s. Where value was once measured solely by cost to buy, it is now the apparent quality of the product as well. And this has been one of the most demanding of all challenges. Prior to the mid-70s, nearly all American automobile plants had been built prior to World War II. Even today, many in use were built prior to 1930. On the other hand, most foreign plants are relatively new, having been constructed during the 50s and 60s, often with the United States financial assistance and technology. GM's and Pontiac's commitment to the other concerns, safety, energy, the environment, required tremendous capital expenditures, literally billions and billions of dollars. And even though a similar commitment was made to improving product quality, it takes time to design and build a new plant, to obtain new tools, to develop new technology. From the decision to build to the day a new plant is productive takes 3 years. Special tools and equipment often require a 2-year lead time, and technological breakthroughs can make a piece of equipment or a process obsolete even before it's in place. And although it may have seemed a painfully slow reaction, the industry is responding, and the perceived gap between foreign and domestic products is disappearing rapidly. For one thing, the application of space-age computer technology in the early stages of design, as well as in the development of manufacturing techniques, has reduced the time required to create and test new vehicles by as much as 1/3. Innovative engineering concepts are resulting in totally new design and manufacturing techniques, which in many cases are far better than the traditional methodology of the past. One such example is the space frame idea, which allows a car to be built from the inside out, providing greater assembly integrity and more rigid quality control. Throughout the industry, new plants are even now in operation, and new, more sophisticated assembly procedures are helping to assure consistent fit and finish. The quality is there, and it's getting better every day. Of course, the American automobile worker is acutely aware of the need to earn the respect and business of the American automobile buyer. So, too, are those Americans employed in dealerships and in the related industries. The manufacturer and the independent dealer businessmen and women have committed literally billions of dollars to new products, new factories, and new dealership facilities and equipment. The ability of the entire industry to compete and prosper is stronger than ever. It will require innovation, products that appeal to an aware, knowledgeable, and demanding public. The styling will have to be right. The engineering as fine as any in the world. It will require innovation in management-employee relationships. Problems will have to be solved as a team, and this is already happening with remarkable results. The products will have to be outstanding too. The performance must be there. Performance in terms of good gasoline mileage, reliability, dependability, and total quality. And this is already happening. The final proof comes on the road. That's where a car belongs. The products must live up to the high expectations of those who own and drive them. Certainly, Pontiac can acclaim its heritage of building exciting automobiles. Cars like Grand Prix, GTO, and Firebird. Sure, the products have changed, but the thrill and enjoyment of owning and driving a finely engineered automobile is as desirable today as at any time in the past. Success will be measured by how high the industry sets its standards and how well they achieve them. And because of its history, these standards are extremely high and the goals well defined for the men and women of Pontiac Motor Division. They are determined to do what they do best, to offer all expected benefits of quality, fuel efficiency, and reliability, plus the excitement and fun-to-drive characteristics that are Pontiac hallmarks. For Pontiac people, the objective is absolute. To be recognized as Pontiac, a car company known for innovative styling and engineering that results in products with outstanding performance and roadability. This is their legacy and a clear direction for the future. Although this point of view is being expressed by one company, Pontiac and their highly respected competitors know that the favorable consideration of every American car buyer must be earned through bringing into sharp focus the commitment, dedication, and vast resources of one of this country's most valuable assets, the men and women of the American automobile industry. They know what must be done, and they intend to do their part and do it well.